Good morning, everyone. Today's Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. We are here this morning for the Administrative Matters meeting, and we will start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, good morning, everyone. I call this meeting to order. I'm Kristen Stevens, Chair Pro Tem. I'm here running the meetings until Commissioner Kafalis gets back. With me on the dais is my fellow Commissioner, Jody Shattuck McNally. We have from the clerk's office, we have Lindsay Jones with us this morning, helping us take the notes for the meeting. We have our county manager, Lorinda Volker, and from the county commissioner's office, we have Tom Clayton and Sarah Martin. So welcome to everyone here. We usually begin with public comment. I'm not sure we have anyone from the public here, but we would have 3 minutes for someone in the audience to give public comment, should they choose. Is there anyone here to give public comment? Seeing no hands raised, and I've talked to Sarah, and there's no one on the phone for public comment, so we will close public comment. Just to remind people that we are available via email and phone if you have any public comment you wish to give, and you're certainly welcome to join us next week at public comment at 9 a.m. So we will move to our next agenda item, which is approval of the minutes, and Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you make a motion for this?
Certainly, Madam Chair Pro Tem, I move to approve the minutes for the week of June 10th, 2024.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 2-0. We will move to Sarah Martin for our upcoming schedule review.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for June 24th through the 28th, 2024. On Monday, June 24th, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be a meeting with Visit Estes Park regarding their 2023 annual report in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Larimer County Suicide Fatality Review Board meeting. On Tuesday, June 25th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be Administrative Direction to County Management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioners Stevens and Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Interim Group Meeting. On Wednesday, June 26th, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting at the Rocky Mountain Innisphere at 320 East Vine Drive in Fort Collins. From 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Big Thompson Watershed Health Partnership meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority Station 7 at 2629 North County Road 27 in Loveland, or virtually via Zoom. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Stevens will attend the Solid Waste Update meeting in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will speak at the Overland Sertoma meeting, Hunnen of Fort Collins at 730 East Harmony Road, number 300 in Fort Collins. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session regarding compensation in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., there will be a work session for an update for the Emergency Services Capital Project in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will host a Livermore community meeting regarding the Water Association, Road and Bridge Facility, Agricultural Heritage, and the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation. This will be held at the Livermore Community Hall at 2044 West County Road 74E in Livermore. From 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fair Board meeting at the Thomas M. McKee 4-H Youth and Community Building at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. On Thursday, June 27th, from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Red Feather Lakes Planning Advisory Committee meeting. It's a hybrid meeting In person, it'll be at the 4 Firehouse Lane at Red Feather Lakes or virtually via Zoom. From 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Regional Opioid Abatement Council meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be in the Boyd Lake Conference Room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual non-attainment area Air Pollution Mitigation Enterprise Board meeting. From 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Fort Collins Urban Renewal Authority Board meeting. From 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the Larimer Alliance Air Quality and Ozone panel discussion in the Old Town Library at 201 Peterson Street in Fort Collins. On Friday, June 28th, from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual State Human Services Trails Executive Steering Committee meeting. From 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual State Forest Health Council legislative meeting. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioners may attend the Timnath Air Quality Monitoring Station ribbon cutting ceremony at Bethke Elementary School at 5100 Schoolhouse Drive in Timnath. From 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., Commissioners Kafalas and Stevens may attend the Larimer County 4-H Foundation Scholarship Awards presentation at the Thomas M. McKee 4-H Youth and Community Building at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. That's it.
Thank you, Sarah. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, any changes or corrections?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair Pro Tem. Hey, Sarah, thanks for all your work on this, and also to Melissa and Brenda who helped wrangle our schedules. On the 26th, I don't see that the Equity EDI board that I'm attending. I think it's in Loveland, so that should be on my schedule.
I'll get that updated.
Hold on, trying to get my calendar to open up. So on the 26th, that's in Loveland, I believe, from 5:30 to 7:30. So that's one. And then on the 27th, no, it's the 28th. I'm also attending the Larimer County 4-H Scholarship Awards. I had told the board that had contacted me that I'll be there as well. And then on Saturday, on the 29th, out at the Larimer County, the ranch, probably owned by Larimer County, I am going to speak at 10:30 at the Pride event. And then that's it, because then I'm going to be gone, hopefully.
Thank you.
For camping. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move on to the next agenda item, which is our consent agenda. And so I will read through the consent agenda. The first item on the agenda are agreements. There are 8 agreements. The first one is a memorandum of understanding for Competency Fines Committee Community Justice Alternatives. This is an agreement to receive grant funding for 3 limited-term positions that will perform case management duties and team lead coordination duties to support the competency court docket. The term of this is July 1st through June 30th of 2025, and the total dollar amount is $654,000. The next agreement is an agreement number 1 for Crystal Lakes Road Association Hazard Mitigation Grant. This amendment incorporates Phase 2 of the Crystal Lakes Road Association Hazard Mitigation Grant for hazard mitigation work in Crystal Lakes. The total dollar amount is roughly $890,000. We have a license agreement for access within the Western Area Power Administration easement at the landfill. And this term of this is 50 years from the date of last signature, extends out to 2074. The next agreement is a memorandum of understanding between Fort Collins, Loveland Water District, and Larimer County to purchase land for the installation of a 6 million gallon water storage tank. The Fort Collins Loveland Water District intends to purchase 10 acres of property from the county to install this tank. and this will serve the Fort Collins-Loveland Water District. There's no expiration on this date. The property purchase value is $890,000. The next agreement is amendment to the Colorado Department of Human Services and Larimer County contract. The state entered into a contract with Talks Corporation for the use of a work number. This allows the county to participate with the state acting as a pass-through entity to benefit from bulk pricing on income verification from the work number. Total dollar amount is roughly $921,000. The next agreement is the Hensel Phelps Project Treadstone Personal Property Tax Abatement Agreement. This is a business personal property tax incentive agreement for equipment related to the attraction of new corporate headquarters of Hensel Phelps, construction within the Loveland South Centera development. The term is through December 31st, 2031, and the amount is not to exceed $189,392. The next agreement item is the WIOA MOU Service Delivery Agreement, option letter number 1 for Job Corps. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, also known as WIOA, identifies the entities that are required partners in the local one-stop delivery system, and Job Corps is one of those required partners. There's no total dollar amount, but the term runs through June 30th, 2025. Then the final agreement is a Poudre Valley Rural Electric Joint Use Engineering. This is approval to pay the attached work orders to initiate pole attachment engineering analysis for capital project fund grants. In order to attach fiber optic cables to Poudre Valley Rural Electric Authority poles, we must complete a engineering and design analysis to ensure the new lines meet the load and clearance issues that we have. So this is about getting broadband to rural areas and working with a partnership with Poudre Valley Rural Electric Authority. The amount is $1.4 million roughly. We have 2 appointments, a midterm appointment to the West Ridge Estates Public Improvement District for Pierce Hassler, term ending November 30th, 2028, and reappointments to the Community Corrections Advisory Board, which include Patty West, Sydney Simonson, and Steve Pietrofiso, 2 full-term appointments, and those will end June 30th, 2026. So thank you to those folks who have stepped up to serve the community. We have 6 liquor license. We have a liquor license renewal for Buck's Liquor in Red Feather Lakes. We have a special event liquor permit for the Red Feather Lakes 3.6-mile fun run. A liquor license special event permit, 6% for Project Self-Sufficiency of Northern Colorado for the Rock Garden Concert. We have a liquor license transfer of ownership for Rigby's Roadhouse, LLC, doing business as Rigby's Roadhouse. We have a liquor license special event permit, 6% for the Vegetable Connection, and finally a liquor license renewal for Vern's Liquor, LLC. We have 2 miscellaneous items. They are both tax stipulations as to tax year 2023 value. And finally, we have 3 resolutions. The first resolution is a resolution providing for the appointment of independent referees to conduct hearings on behalf of the Larimer County Board of Equalization. Those are appointments that we have made as county commissioners to do this work, and we thank people for stepping up into this role. The named parties are Curtis Albers, Brian Steving, and the alternates are Alan Jones and Marcus Valdez. Our second resolution is appointing arbitrators to hear Appeals Board of Equalization decisions. The named parties are Curtis Albers, Sean Doherty, Jerry Gavaldon, Alan Jones, Eric Cromwell, Jeff Martin, Margaret Moore, Mike Sibbald, and Mark Valdez. And thank you for those folks for stepping up to do that arbitration work. And finally, we have a findings and resolutions approving the Thornton Water Project Segment 1041 permit. This item is a findings and resolutions to approve the Thornton Water Project Segment 1041 permit for a proposed 10.4 42-inch steel water transmission line. And that hearing was held last month. So those are all the items on the consent agenda. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you like to pull any items from the consent agenda?
No, I would not like to pull any items. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then I would ask you to make the motion for the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda for June 18th, 2024.
Thank you. The motion on the table. Any further discussion on these items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 2-0, that motion passes. And we will move on to our next agenda item, which is comments from commissioners, guests. Do you have any guests this morning?
Not this morning, but just to give you a heads up, I plan to have a guest, hopefully if the schedule works out, for next week.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we'll look forward to that. And we have no discussion items this morning, which is quite unusual, but makes for a bit of a shorter morning. And so we will move to our county manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. I did a lot of internal coordination last week. One of the interesting things we do once a month is meet with department heads, and we had Shane Atkinson, our Legislative Affairs Manager, come and talk to the group. And he presented some information I thought was interesting, maybe to more than just me. We had 705 bills were submitted, proposed this year in session. 525 of those were considered and passed. 119 of those affected counties, and that's not including our human services bills, which are tracked separately. So more than 120 bills affected counties. We did a lot of work as staff following those and tracking those. They covered everything from solid waste, broadband access, utility relocations, noxious weeds, emergency management, and property tax. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So when session is in session and you all say you're busy and you're following things, it's because we need to make sure that the things that are happening that affect the county we're well aware of and part of those conversations. And our staff is highly engaged in those. You all provide great direction for them with our policy piece that we adopt, our legislative agenda each year. And I just wanted to give you feedback that how much that's appreciated by staff to be able to engage in that way as experts in their field and with their professional organizations. They really feel like they can make a difference for counties and for residents that they serve. And so a big thank you to you all for that support and for that clear direction.
Thank you, Lorinda. Any questions or comments from Lorinda?
No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the feedback. And you mentioned that it's Shane, the legislative manager or coordinator?
He's a coordinator.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
I couldn't come up with the right title.
And so I just curious, did they have feedback for him that they will be shared with us and kind of help us? Because this is new for the county all around, and it still has a lot of things we need to tweak and go forward, because anytime there's something new, we always have processes. So I'm curious to hear from staff what they liked or didn't like in the communication piece of it.
We will provide that information to you as well. One of the things we joked about is, we're flying the plane and building the plane around ourselves at the same time, and we're doing it at a time when there's more legislation being proposed than ever before. And so they appreciated having a single point of contact that was quickly responsive. We didn't always have that because legislation was part of everyone's job, but not the primary point of the job. And so having that clear point of contact to get information to you, from you, and then out to the staff was very, very helpful. So we will provide that feedback with you. They did have some suggestions, and then those I'm sure will continue to flow in as we continue to look at what our processes look like.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your report, Lorinda. You're right. It was fairly hard to keep track of that. I don't know how we would have done that without Shane being in that role. But yeah, certainly kind of always willing to look, and I think he is too, willing to look at sort of process improvements as we go forward, knowing that there could be that many bills again. I think that's the most bills that had ever been introduced, at least since we had been commissioners, Commissioner Shattuck, McNally, and I. And so it is hard to keep track of that, and it does feel like you're drinking through a fire hose to try to do that. So yeah, we'll take a look. I appreciate that that suggestion. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So we will move on to Commissioner activity reports. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, we'll let you take that over.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. I'll just share a few things. The there's a lot happening this month as I finishing up my column between Juneteenth tomorrow, which is Freedom Day, and how important that is for us. And before it became a federal holiday, our board had a proclamation for Juneteenth that we rolled out that first year, and the Larimer County's first, had first ever event for that. And thinking about D-Day and Memorial Day and Flag Day and upcoming 4th of July. And I just didn't really take in, and Father's Day, of course, and it just take in all of the things that are happening, just holidays, but they're really time for us to take a moment and time to think about importance of these days in history. And so there's a lot happening around our county with those items. And so I just wanted to take that moment just to comment that has been really heavy on my mind and my heart, just thinking and making sure that I take that moment to think about what that really means. And certainly D-Day, and listening to some of the World War II veterans who may not be around for another anniversary or two. And I just wanted to share that with all you, because it's been on my mind a lot lately. Last Tuesday, I attended the Fort Collins Chamber event, which was talking about childcare, and had a speaker, and the room was packed. It was even folks from the Loveland Chamber came, and it was very interesting to hear about the importance of childcare, but it's got to be a collaborative effort, which we know already as a county is that we don't work in silos, and that call it the Larimer way, that we have to work together to solve these issues. So it's going to take the private sector and businesses and local governments and have everyone work together to solve this, because it is a large issue still to address for our county. I attended briefly for about an hour and a half the South Basin South Platte Basin Roundtable, which is a water drainage a part of the state, and the really interesting discussions. They had taken a tour in person, and I attended online, so I didn't get to do the tour. But Dalen Figgs from our Department of Natural Resources represents us there and does a fantastic job. And it was a very interesting discussion. I attended a Colorado Parks and Wildlife discussion about activity that impacting livestock producers, and that was well attended. It was a very interesting discussion, and just really appreciate some information. I took lots and lots of notes, and appreciate Colorado Parks and Wildlife inviting us. We had our Environment, Energy, and Land Use call last week. It got moved to this week, but I did get jump on and talk to someone real quick. And then I wanted to just thank our planning commission, and as a board, we had a very robust conversation about the water plan and stuff last week, and I appreciate the outgoing. I wanted to just give a shout out to two outgoing members who have been really subject matter experts and very engaged, and that would be Bob Choate, who is currently chair, not to be chair long, but they're at the end of their term, and am I drawing her name? Ann Johnson, who's now working in Berthoud, and they've been really with us since we came on the board, and it's really been very great with their insights and expertise as the new board. And I just wanted to make sure to give them another public shout out for their long-term service, and they've put a lot of energy into the planning commission. So I really appreciate that. And then we had our council at Larimer County Office on Aging Advisory Council meeting, and we had the state demographer come and present on our aging population and the amount of resources. I would recommend everyone to get on and watch that presentation from the state demographer. It was virtual. I see one of the state demographers at least once or at least twice, if not more times a year at conferences, and they always tweak their presentation to the audience they have. But it's still the same kind of thread, that our percentage of our population will be a larger percentage is going to be older, and then we have a smaller youth population, and it's really going to impact the amount of services we have available and how we're going to deal with some of those challenges in front of us, and really, I mean, the data is right there in front of us that our percentage is going to be more older adults, and how we address that. And I think it was an important message. And then Commissioner Stevens and I went and celebrated the first anniversary of the Teen Activity Center across the street here. The Director Gonzalez and the Larimer Public Health Department and the commissioners, are all integrally with either donated money or the health department was the fiscal agent, and so the Larimer County's got a very strong connection to that Teen Activity Center, which has been very successful. There was at least 11 CSU football players that came to volunteer and to give their time, and I've seen them over there more than once, and so it's kind of an interesting partnership, and I appreciate all the hard work from the Center for Family Outreach and Lori Kilton. Thank her for the opportunity to celebrate the successful first year of the TAC Center. And then I drove up to Tahosa Valley to have community conversation. If for those who are not familiar, Tahosa Valley is kind of the area south of Lily Lake on Highway 7. They consider themselves kind of a separate area, and that all the way, you even have some people from Boulder County on the line that come up and use the sort yard that there. And we had a nice group at the Salvation High Peak Camp, and great conversation on emergency management and some of the things that we have done the last year. I try to go up there at least once a year, and it was interesting conversations about how they can, as a group, sign up for and become a kind of a hub and resilience hub that they need to initiate and talk about. And they were very interested in mitigation work for wildfire mitigation work around their neighborhoods and how they could work together on that. And I'm very interested in our mitigation grant program, which there are a lot of things they were not aware of. So it was really great information. And I appreciate Jordan Dunn from the Commissioner's Office who came up and to listen and to take notes and to visit, because it is a beautiful area up there. And it was a well-attended and very great conversation. And I appreciate the association and group that helped me get the word out. And it was a great conversation. And I hope that we can help them connect and help them deal with some of those concerns about wildfire mitigation. And then on Friday, just lots of busy work. We had our Forest Health Legislative Committee. We're still kind of preparing for the next legislative session, which we have our approved legislative priorities, but we're kind of tweaking them with a little more details right now and getting ready for the Wildfire Interim Committee meetings coming up. And then in the evening, I rode along with the Sheriff's Department and want to thank Deputy Sazama and the forensic expert. I think her name's Marissa, but I got to see kind of a CSI kind of crime and scene investigation. I won't say where or what because it's alleged crime at this point, but it was fascinating to see the amount of time and effort and detail and diligence of collecting evidence and fingerprints and then how they interacted with the folks that called in this alleged property crime, and it's just take a really good appreciation for me to impress of how they work together, but also the amount of time that takes to take someone out of service to kind of deal with that, and the importance of those forensic teams to come in and support the deputies as they go out and deal with these calls. So I want to thank them for the whole shift was very welcoming, and I appreciate their just their professionalism and what they do to help all of us in the community and keep us all safe. And it was really important to see that. I went and volunteered and also participated in the Pride Walk and March in Loveland they had their Loveland Pride. And then I volunteered kind of to welcome people as they came in. And I have to thank the Rainbow Collective, Kat McManus, and all the tons of volunteers. It was well over 1,000 people. It was so many people. And the march went up and down downtown Loveland. Both sides of the street were full of people marching through that neighborhood, and lots of vendors, lots of activities for kids and families. I met people who came out to talk to me from Fort Collins and Risk Canyon and Wellington and Berthoud, and they came from all over. So it was very well attended and lots of positive comments. Well done, Loveland, and lots of music and festivities, and of course lots of balloons and colors. And so I appreciated all the folks that came out to celebrate that, and well done. And then happy Father's Day. I know we're kind of a day or two afterwards, but happy Father's Day to everyone, to all the fathers, father figures, stepdads, all those folks. It's really important that we take a moment to recognize the importance of what fathers and father figures contribute to our communities and also to our families, and that's really important. And then yesterday we had a very busy day. Commissioner Stevens and I were doing a lot of things yesterday. I started off with the Colorado Fire Commission subcommittee for prescribed fire and prescribed treatments, and that is from the Forest Health Council and the Fire Committee. There's some things I can't share because a lot of executive session, but we're really trying to get ahead of the needs, the urgent pace and scale for wildfire mitigation, and what all the tools in the toolbox, and prescribed fire and prescribed treatments are part of one of those tools in that toolbox. So it's really important. And then we had our Larimer Epidemiology Working Group, which I didn't get to fully participate in. And then we had the Investing in America. Commissioner Stevens, I attended at the Poudre Valley Rural Electric Association, had a ceremony out. The U.S. Secretary of Agriculture came to pretty much Larimer County. That's that corner there, and in Fort Collins address, but it's on the edge of Windsor. And very excited about the investment of the PACE Award, the Powering Alternative Clean Energy, I think it is, the PACE Award. And Poudre Valley REA received $9 million of a grant for their to do utility side solar, battery chargers, and to help also with their other solar field. And then they announced the other Colorado award, which is $72 million for the Western Slope for a different county, but more rural county, but very important investment, and very excited. There was only been 6, I believe, PACE awards handed out across the country over the last few years, but this is part of the Inflation Reduction Act money from the Biden administration, and then this is the 7th and 8th one given out. So this is a big, big deal, and appreciate Congresswoman, Yadira Carveo was there. This is a big push for her and really important. She sits on the congressional, the House Ag Committee and Agriculture Committee, and she's been a big champion with that. And this is also to really make sure this gets out to provide clean energy and affordable and lower cost clean energy for rural folks, lower income folks, and farmers and ranchers, making sure they're not left behind in the rural area. So this is really, the title of it was Investing in America, Rural Infrastructure in the Rural America. And so that was really important. And then we just had our after that, we came up to our elected officials lunch, and that's always our quarterly lunch with all the Larimer County elected officials. And we always have a very cordial, collaborative, and partner, very positive meetings. And I just appreciate our partnerships with all of them. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will be brief. So on Thursday, we had the Downtown Development Authority Board meeting. Was really interesting because we had someone from Street Outreach come and speak to us. So really some of the work that they're doing to work with people experiencing homelessness, both in the Midtown area and downtown area, and look even farther north. But some really good information there. Someone from City of Fort Collins also talked about their new building standards program, where buildings over 5,000 square feet will have to adhere to certain energy efficiencies or be penalized. So there was a lot of talk, as you can imagine. It is harder for older buildings, so there are some waiver programs, but a lot of the business owners in the downtown area have some concerns about this program being rolled out. And so, I mean, to be continued, but I think those conversations will continue, and but really important, obviously, to have energy efficiency as much as possible in the buildings around the area. Helps with both the city's greenhouse gas goals and our greenhouse gas goals too. But making it fit for everyone is I think, the tricky part. So that was an interesting conversation. As Commissioner Shattuck McNally mentioned, we had the Teen Activity Center 1-year anniversary. Great to celebrate with Lori and all the teens. And one of the things that was announced is that they did get some of the teens made a video to try to get other teens to not try fentanyl, And so they were awarded by the SAMHSA group, I think with the $2,000 in honorable mention. So that was a national award that they received. And so it was really great to acknowledge the teens that were there, and obviously Lori Kliss's work, very important. And they're right across the street from us, so they are great neighbors as well. Then I attended the business after hours for Grace Village. This is a community center for Wellington. They are trying to raise funds for a community center that will provide a food bank, that will provide offices for our human services, and also offices for some mental health providers in that community. They do have a lack of services in many cases in Wellington. There's not great transportation from Wellington to Fort Collins, and so having these kind of services in their town will be very beneficial, but they are trying to raise dollars. So if anyone's interested in helping with that, go to the Grace Village website and you can donate or see how you can help with these efforts. But we wish them well, as we will be a partner with them, and we did give them $500,000 towards that project. I worked with some of the National Association of Counties staff on a resolution for our conference in July that would ask for direct funding from the federal government for counties with regard to transportation. So we know that there are very few funds where we don't have to compete with state departments of transportation. And so really trying to see if there's formula funding or competitive grant funding that can go exclusively to counties. So I think that would be really helpful as we try to get some projects done. Counties own about 40% of roads in the country, but only got about 8% of the competitive grants that were available through the bipartisan infrastructure law. So we are trying to change those numbers. So on Friday, we had coordination with our transportation department. Some of the concerns that we have are that the ozone free fare dollars that were going to transit were actually taken out of our multimodal option fund dollars, and that was not made clear to us when we were advocating for that at the State House. So there is some concern that $10 million of funds that would have gone to all transportation now have to be used exclusively for ozone-free fare days, which was not very transparent. So a lot of people upset about moving money around. There were no new dollars identified, and they weren't dollars that came from CDOT. They were dollars that came from monies that we potentially had already allocated to transportation projects and our transit projects. So not great, and we will look into that. I also took a tour of Rawhide, the power generating plant up north of Fort Collins. While it's generated by coal, that coal piece will go away and we'll be moving to renewable energy. But it was really interesting to see how that is done, and it was fascinating. But I think that it's great because that they're talking about the retirement of that project, and there was tons of solar on site and battery storage, and so there is a movement towards the renewables, and that was good. And then finally on Saturday, attended the Juneteenth celebration at Foothills Mall. It was really great. Thank you to the city of Fort Collins and all the people that were responsible for making that happen. Really great to celebrate Juneteenth. Lots of great concerts and hip hop dancing and things like that. A lot of vendors there, people doing haircuts and food, and so it was a really great celebration. It's really nice that our community is celebrating Juneteenth, and we look forward to celebrating the actual holiday tomorrow when the county offices will be closed. So that is it for me. Thank you, and we will move on to our next item. That is an executive session. There won't be a decision expected after that. I'm assuming that staff will be joining us shortly for that. And I will ask you, Commissioner Shaddock McNally, to make a motion to bring us into executive session, and then we won't be coming back, so we'll be signing off for the morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning.
Thank you all, and thank you, Madam Chair Pro Tem. I move that the Board of Larimer County Commissioners move into executive session pursuant to the Colorado Revised Statute 24-6, 4024A, purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of any real or personal property in regard to confidential land negotiation.
Thank you. There's motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are now moving into executive session, and we'll hope that staff joins us soon for that. Thank you.